Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into something pretty unique today.
Always up for a good deep dive.
Okay, so someone said as this personal reflection, the amazing wisdom of ants climbing a tree. And, well, let's be honest, the title alone got us hooked.
I mean, who doesn't love a good food metaphor, right? Especially when it ties into those bigger life questions.
Right. And this one's got layers, kind of like the dish itself. But before we get too deep, I got to ask you, familiar with ants climbing a tree? The dish, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Classic Sichuan dish. You got those slippery cellophane noodles, the savory pork, a bit of spice. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Me too. But it's more than just a tasty meal for the author of this reflection. They actually use it as a jumping off point to talk about how we navigate the messiness of life choices.
Yeah, I noticed that. They really break down the symbolism, like the noodles, all tangled and slippery, representing the twists and turns of life, how things don't always go according to plan.
And that ground pork clinging to those noodles. Yeah. It's like, are we holding on too tight? Or maybe not tight enough. What are we trying to achieve anyway?
And let's not forget the ginger, the garlic, those little bursts of flavor, kind of like those unexpected moments of joy or challenge that spice things up.
Love that.
Yes.
So we've got these ingredients, these experiences, but how do we know what to do with them? How do we make sense of it all?
Well, that's where the author brings in this really cool analogy about that Chinese tile matching game.
Okay, I gotta admit, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, it's a classic. You gotta match those identical tiles, but they're all jumbled up. It's all about finding the right connections, making the right choices to clear the board.
So they're basically saying life is like a giant game of fome.
In a way, yeah. Because sometimes it feels like we're just scrambling, trying to make the right matches, always wondering if we missed a better connection, you know? Like, what if I had chosen that other tile?
Ugh, the what ifs are the worst. They can totally keep you up at night.
Tell me about it. And the author really gets that. But they also offer this kind of comforting perspective. They argue that trusting in a higher wisdom, in God, can help us navigate those tricky choices.
So it's about surrendering control a bit, acknowledging that we don't have all the answers.
Exactly. And they even quote Proverbs saying, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." Now, that fear part might sound a bit intense, but I think it's more about recognizing something bigger than ourselves, a wisdom that goes beyond our limited understanding.
Right. It's about humility, recognizing that we don't have it all figured out, which honestly can be a huge relief. But this isn't just some abstract concept for the author, is it?
Oh, not at all. They share some pretty personal stories about how they believe God guided them to the right choices, finding their spouse, their career path, even discovering their purpose in serving God. It's like those moments when you're at a crossroads, and suddenly a path opens up that you hadn't even considered.
And I think what really struck me was that they described cooking ants climbing a tree while worshiping with their community as this profoundly spiritual experience.
Yeah. It's like the act of cooking itself became a form of prayer, of connecting with something bigger. Pretty powerful stuff.
It really is. But I wonder, is there a risk of oversimplifying things? I mean, does adding faith to any act automatically make it holy?
That's a good question. I think what the author is highlighting is intentionality. Being present, aware, and open to that deeper connection in whatever we do, even something as everyday as cooking a meal.
It's about the mindset, the heart we bring to it, not just the act itself. I get that.
Right. And ultimately, the author believes that this wisdom, this connection with God, is available to everyone. It's not exclusive, not some secret knowledge.
So we don't have to have all the answers, but we can seek guidance through prayer, through intuition, through community, through whatever resonates with us.
Exactly. And maybe even through a plate of ants climbing a tree. Who knows, maybe those slippery noodles hold more wisdom than we realize.
Food for thought, right? So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. What are those ingredients you're working with in your own life right now? Those challenges, those joys, those big decisions. And how might seeking that higher wisdom, that connection with something bigger than ourselves, influence your own recipe for a fulfilling life?
That's a great question to ponder and maybe even discuss over a delicious meal.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep seeking, and keep cooking up those amazing lives.